This video is sponsored by Crypty.
I love Japan for this.
Besides vending machines, another thing I love about Japan surely is the clash of cultures, ranging from traditional temples to neon lights. And in this video I photographed both of those extremes, including one of the weirdest temples I've ever seen. And while Japan is already impressive during the day, it turns into this cinematic photography dreamland at night. I explore one of Osaka's busiest and most crowded areas, as well as the quieter back streets, taking a mix of street and urban landscape photos. I think I even caught some portfolio-worthy shots that night, so without any further ado, let's start. The Namba Yasaka shrine is a Shinto shrine located close to Namba station. What might appear like a monster at first glance actually is a lion-shaped building worshipping the deity Gosu Tenno, the god of protection against, well, epidemics. Bro, have you been unemployed in 2020? No offense, just saying we could have needed you. But in any way, this surely is a temple unlike any other, so it wasn't a surprise to find it packed with people when we were visiting. However, as a street photographer, crowds of people around interesting locations is not the worst thing to happen, so naturally I tried capturing the people in there.
I think we actually managed to be here at a nice moment because the sun is just behind it. So it's backlit and pretty nice actually.
But of course, the temple itself also got my attention. The harsh contrast due to the midday sun in combination with the curved details like the hair and the teeth of the lion were really interesting to me, which is why I tried to find suitable angles to frame them. One of my favorite moments though was this encounter with a man who was casually chilling by the temple with his pet bird. He seemed really friendly, so I asked for a portrait. Language barrier was certainly an issue here, but I love how it doesn't really matter when you try to communicate through openness and kindness and find a way to understand each other nonetheless.
Shinama? Shinama? It's hungry as well, yeah, of course. Oh, now I can see the small face. It's so pretty. Hello. Really nice. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Oh. Okay. Wollen wir dann?
One thing you can do at shrines is to get an omikuji, a little note telling you your fortune. And of course we were curious to see what it had to offer for us.
Let me see if we have a good or a bad fortune. Okay, ich glaube, ohne Übersetzer kommen wir hier nicht weit. Bright light. Is it easy to see? Is it telling me something about my photography?
In case you got a bad fortune and don't want to bring it home, you can tie your piece of paper to a designated place on the grounds of the shrine or temple.
Bye bye.
After we were done with the shrine, we actually had nothing planned and decided to wander around aimlessly and grab a coffee on the way. When traveling, especially when having limited time, it can happen quickly that you pre-schedule every single second of your trip. At least this is the case for me oftentimes. So in order to prevent this, we actively tried to leave gaps in between plans for spontaneous and more laid-back exploring. The one thing we knew we wanted to do was to end up around Dotonbori when it got dark, to explore the nightlife there and find out how cinematic Japan actually is once it gets dark.
So guys, this is the famous Dotonbori street. Right behind me is the Don Quixote which is a crazy store where you can get pretty much everything. We will come back here once the sun has set and I can hopefully take some more pictures. But of course I will snap some on the way there as well. Shooting with the 28mm today, by the way, to switch it up a little bit. Yeah, but it's only a f5.6. It's the TT Artisan one that I got sent to a couple of months ago. It's a really nice lens. I'm pretty happy that I brought it, but I guess at some point during the night I will have to switch to my 35 Summicron because it opens up to f2. I brought the M10 today because I shot with it yesterday and it was so much fun. I feel like this camera is perfect for mixed light situations like this one. It's good to have a digital camera where you can switch up the ISO because for film it's a little bit tricky.
You're taking more pictures with the M10 than the M6.
True.
More pictures of one scene.
True, yeah.
Once day turns into night, the real Osaka magic came to life. Doton Body is known for the flourishing nightlife, full of neon signs like the famous Glico Man, clubs, bars, restaurants, shopping opportunities, and of course, plenty of people, locals and tourists alike. Saying that this area is every street photographer's dream is probably still an understatement. The energy of the Doton Body area around the river is hard to put into words. It's vivid, buzzing, chaotic, energizing, while almost being overstimulating and overwhelming. But why does Japan actually feel so cinematic at night? I think it's hard to pinpoint the exact reasons, but I assume that it's the mix of futuristic skyscrapers and traditional buildings, the contrast of atmospheric lanterns and cyberpunk-esque neon lights. Therefore, naturally, I got attracted by the glowing neon signs you can find in every corner. On my Leica Summicron I've switched to at this point, by the way, I've used a Pro Mist filter, which I know is a look that seems to be rather controversial. On my part, as somebody who shoots a lot of film, the digital look feels a bit too clean, which is why I almost always use a light strength Pro Mist filter in combination with my Leica M10 to get a more organic and soft vibe. Usually it isn't incredibly obvious, but at night with this amount of artificial light sources, the effect surely seems a bit more prominent. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this look in these circumstances, which is why I would be interested in your opinion. Do you think the Pro Mist filter look works in favor of Neon Japan to bring out the cinematic look, or would you rather go without? Please let me know in the comments down below. Oh no, not again. I should know this by now. Always back up your files. In case you've been following my channel or my Instagram account, which by the way I highly recommend so that you won't miss any upcoming episodes of the Japan series, you might know about my history with data loss. On my first trip to Japan in 2018, I actually lost half of my video footage due to a hardware failure, so on this trip I naturally tried to be extra careful. Nonetheless, I still ended up with compromised footage because I accidentally messed up the recording settings on my video camera, but sadly only realized it after a couple of days since I didn't back it up immediately. Luckily, the footage was salvageable and you're watching the video right now, so I was able to put something together, but nonetheless, it was a lesson learned the hard way to prioritize backups in my workflow. And that's why Crypty, the sponsor of this video, is a perfect fit to highlight the importance of keeping your digital files safe. Crypty is a cloud storage solution specifically made for photographers and other creatives where you can store your images, videos and files in a secure and private way. You can store all of your images here, no matter if JPEG or RAW, categorize them into different folders, highlight your favorite images and add tags or additional headlines. The folders are automatically sorted in this big timeline, allowing you fast access to your database. All of your files you upload are encrypted before leaving your device, which means that nobody, not even Crypty itself, can see your data. What I particularly like about Crypti is the mindful and minimal design. With every aspect of the platform, you can feel that it was created with photographers in mind. I love the intentional and selected process when taking photos, so I also like to continue this philosophy to the storage and organization part of my work, which makes Crypti the perfect tool for the job. I've been using Crypti pretty extensively over the last months and built up my database, including pretty much all of my recent images, digital and analog, that I can now access from anywhere, anytime. Crypti also offers a handful of features that are rather unique in comparison to other cloud storage solutions. You can, for example, turn your folders into ghost folders, which makes them invisible for potential intruders and also clients who might not need to see all of your photo albums. It also uses a natural language search based on the EXIF data of the images, so that you can, for example, search for images taken during a specific time of day. Crypti is open source and made in Europe, offering users full transparency and protection, which is something I find incredibly important to know my data in good hands. In case you're interested in trying out Crypti, 100 MB of upload are free, so that you can try it out without any obligations. But if you want to commit to a paid plan and build up your online photo catalog, you can get 10% off on all plans for a lifetime by using the code Majoka. I've lost enough data in the past and learned my lesson the hard way to know that a secure and also visually inspiring platform to back up your files is a must. Therefore, once again, thank you to Crypti for sponsoring this video and supporting my channel this way. And now I would say, let's go back to the part of actually taking photos that we can back up later. I feel like it almost didn't matter in which direction I pointed my camera to, because everything just looks interesting. Nonetheless, I have to say that shooting here isn't particularly easy. There are so many sensory stimuli, not only visual but also sounds and smells, that my head started to feel heavy after a short while, and it was harder and harder to focus.
I remember when I was here in 2018, it was pretty much exactly the same amount of people here, so I think no matter when you come, it's always crowded. Ja, bestimmt, ja. Ja. Arigato. Nice camera.
Ja, so hey.
Was werdet ihr nicht bekommen hat?
As much as I enjoy the hustle and bustle, my favorite images of the night were taken in the quieter back alleys. Things I look out for here are the clash of warm and cold light sources and people in moments of solitude, which I also found as a recurring theme across my body of work from this trip.
The light situation here is so mixed. You have like those really bright spots where it's pretty much overexposed all the time, and then you have those really dark spots where it's hard to get any light out. So ISO 1600, f2.8 and 1/125 right now. We'll see if this works.
One of my biggest struggles when doing night photography handheld and not with a tripod is to get the focus right. When having to shoot more or less wide open due to the limited light, zone focusing isn't really an option, which means that I have to take the time to use the rangefinder and focus precisely, which doesn't always work out with fast-moving subjects. However, I've learned that low-light situations are actually the perfect playground to get some routine in for measuring distances when focusing.
excited are you for vegan okonomiyaki?
Very excited.
One of Osaka's signature dishes is okonomiyaki, a savory pancake. We found this very special okonomiyaki place that has vegan and vegetarian options and also a rather unique concept working without any employees.
Also, this place is crazy because it has how many floors? 5 or so? And the lady who's owning this place is running everything on her own. And you have monitors here and a microphone and like speakers. And once your order is done, you get a number, and she shouts the number, and then you know that you are ready to pick up your food. Pretty cool.
Our accommodation was located close to Dotonbori, therefore we've been in this area before at daytime. It's always so interesting to see how different the vibe of a place can be depending on the time of day. Here in Japan, I can say that nighttime in general is probably my favorite time to be out, since people seem way more loose, open and approachable at night. And somehow, even more than in other countries, the streets feel like being painted in a totally different light. The atmosphere of Japanese streets at night always give off this movie-like vibe, feeling like a scene from an anime or video game, which I truly enjoy a lot.
Was gekostet?
Darf ich dir nicht erzählen?
Ja, was hast du dir oder uns gegönnt?
Schmeckt ein bisschen nach Kotze. Merkst du?
Das schmeckt echt ein bisschen nach Kotze, aber irgendwie geil. Was ist da? Warte, darf ich mal einmal die Dings haben? Ich will hier einmal ein bisschen B-Roll filmen. Oh, cool. How about a night visit at the shrine?
Another highlight of the night certainly was the visit at the Hozenji Temple that is located in the middle of the action, just a couple of minutes from the river. Temples usually have this calming and grounding effect on me, but visiting one at night elevated this effect even more. It's crazy. There's a temple like in the middle of this city, and right now it was just like so quiet and there were no people at all. Now it's a bit more crowded again, but having like the contrast between the very busy Dotonbori street and then suddenly being here and having like a quiet mind, quiet surroundings was crazy.
So that was my last night in Osaka, but however, not my last night in Japan. So if you don't want to miss any more content shooting in Japan, not only at night but also at daytime, I have a couple of more stops here. I'll be in Kanazawa and also Tokyo next. So if you don't want to miss anything, make sure to stick around and maybe even subscribe to the channel. And that being said, thank you so much for joining me on this night out. I can say that it certainly was not easy to shoot here. I definitely get why so many people here in Japan shoot black and white and why so many people actually shoot with flash, because the light conditions here are rather challenging. But nonetheless, it was very fun, and I hope that I captured at least 1 or 2 nice images to look back to on the trip. Yeah, so that being said, I would say thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one.